still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com.
Talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It's talk of the Toon, and as usual, I am on the show with Sid and Rob, but Sid has disappeared. He's back. His internet's been playing up.
Well, that was weird. I just sort of dropped out. I'm thinking, oh, what's happened?
But yeah, here, Sid. That was a classic. That talk about live TV. Anyway, welcome back, Sid.
We'll talk takeover day, folks. Today,
well, it is. Yeah, it is happy takeover day. 4 years since the takeover went through, and to be honest, I'm enjoying seeing the meltdown as usual on X before we get into the football. And I know you've been busy deleting a few people on X because you're just as sick as me with that platform. But yeah, some people just don't know, what a celebration is, do they?
Yeah, and I think there's a poll going around in terms of it might be Toon polls. I can't remember now.
Yeah, probably. They're the only people allowed to do one. Remember? So.
Yeah, and I think it was are you delighted, happy, not very happy, or absolutely gutted about the whole thing, and I can't get my head around people who've not written happy or delighted. It is just like one of the top two, and I was thinking, what do you want? We've won a trophy. We've been in the Champions League twice now. I mean, if you'd said to me 4.5 years ago, for example, we're one day going to win a trophy, I would have snapped your arm off because I never thought I'd live long enough to ever see it, because I just thought we were just going to drown in mediocrity and never reach anywhere. And this is by far the happiest I've been since the Kevin Keegan era, and this is far more sustainable, in my opinion, because this is by far the best squad of players that we've ever produced. So I can't understand it. I mean, these are obviously the same people who would twist it 21 in a game of pontoon, because what more do you want? It's going well. It's going as well as can be. Yes, there are things that we'd like to see improve, but isn't that always the case? It's just going to take a little bit of time, and let's be honest, other things have been against us. I think it's the polite way of saying it, and we're having to battle through all of that as well. But doing great, man. Doing absolutely great. So I'm absolutely buzzing and delighted for it all. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I was telling you off air before we came on, from my perspective as well, we've often talked about doing this book about the takeover, me, obviously Neil and Steve Hasty, and I've been every spare minute I've been trying to work out the best way to do it, etc. And I think obviously from my perspective, we need to give a little bit of an insight into who we are. I know people who watch the podcast know who we are, but anyone picking up a copy of the book or buying an Amazon version of a takeover book would want to know who the hell these people are claiming to be involved. So yeah, it's been fun. I've been doing that, and every now and then I'll get back to it. And I've done it about 4 hours today, just sitting down and I think I reeled it off to you. Some of the stuff
Did.
that involved in my 30,000 words, which were limited in each of the two. I can call United Supporters for Change, the Magpie Group, the Save Our Seats campaign, the fake shake, big expose of Shepherd and Hall, the fans liaison committee, how it was set up, and then actually being the person who had to liaise with the fans liaison committee. Then we get into the Ashley era, and the on-off relationship I had with Derek Lambias, the protests that followed, the battle for the gates. NUFC Fans United being set up, the funeral march, of course, which everybody would love to know the inside story on. Rafa Benitez and the relationship that I had with him and his backroom staff and team for 3 years, and then ultimately Amanda Stavey and how that takeover really did come about. The London protest, which played a huge part, and of course the takeover, which was finally done. So, a lot of people out there know that we're going to do this book. Well, just like, it is still in the pipeline. Me and the lads are still going to do it. But my end's starting to take shape. It's now up to Mitch and Steve to produce theirs. And again, just speaking to Sid off air, just telling them that, there's at least another 3 takeovers that didn't happen, which Steve and Mitch can, which of course lift the lid on. So it's going to be a fascinating read. That I don't think it'll be winning any Pulitzer prizes or people's books of the year, but I think people will enjoy it. Newcastle fans will enjoy it, and certainly bring back a lot of memories. Sid.
Yeah, I look forward to reading it. I mean, the 3 takeovers thing you were telling us before, I was quite taken aback by it.
Yeah, fascinating. Anyway, yes, happy takeover day to everybody out there. And let's look back at the 2 games, I guess, that we've had.
Yes, let's do that.
Since we last met.
Morton, who's just made a point, would you sell Tonali for 100 million? No, absolutely not.
Oh, yes,
he's one of the top 3 midfield players in the world. One of the top 3. So absolutely not. And he's the man we should be building the team around. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think maybe in the next 2 years, he might end up at Real Madrid or Barcelona. And if that's the case, so be it. But he's the man. So definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's already, the rumours have started. We're sitting in October and people are already looking ahead to the January transfer window. Sky's been full of it today. Thankfully, Harry Kane, and that story is taken over. But the newspapers have been talking about Tonali, and Tonali could be going to Juventus. There was a photograph of him getting off the plane, meeting his agent, and people are going, "Well, he must be meeting his agent about a transfer in January. Juventus are really interested." Well, no, he's getting off the plane and meeting his agent because he's on an international duty. That's why.
An Italian in Italy shock. How dare we?
Exactly. Well, I'll keep a few of these questions to the side for when we chat after this, because we do want to look back at the games first. So Champions League, a huge win in the Champions League away from home, Sid, and great, well deserved.
Brilliant. I mean, let's not sort of wet ourselves about it though, because they were rubbish. I mean, they were no better than Bradford City. It was sort of League One, Championship level. I mean, they were terrible. But you can only play what's in front of you. So, it's not for us to dictate who we're playing. We were superb. I mean, again, Tonali was my man of the match. I thought he was brilliant. Elanga was very, very good. Got a penalty, played superbly. Gordon, 2 good pens, I have to say. I was really impressed. Voltemade was superb. And should have called Heinz Rummenigge, didn't he? A man who should know better, but there we have it. I thought, Voltemade, terrific, absolutely terrific. That was a magnificent performance. He was just dictating play. Lovely to see. It could have been 8-0, and I don't think anybody could have complained. It was so one-sided. It was just ridiculous. I thought after 5 minutes, I predicted 3-0 last week, and I thought after 5 minutes you could see the way the rest of the game was going to pan out, because we were levels above them. We were so far above them as a team. But as I say, you can only go out and play what's there, and they were just superb. Can I ask, how bad must PSV be, to be beaten 3-0 at home and by them? They must be absolute rubbish. But what I will also say, and this applies to me as well as others, is that we can't wet ourselves about watching players who, like, when the transfer season comes along, who play in the Belgian leagues, in the Dutch league or the Netherlands and whatever, and we all think, oh, we've got to get them. They look class. Well, they're in such an inferior league. You just got to let the scouts get on with it. I mean, we all looked at certain winger last year, and we looked at centre forwards, and then they've come over and they've been generally rubbish. You get the odd one, of course, who's great. Botman's a prime example of a fella from the Netherlands who's done really well. But this, it's very, very hit and miss. We've had a few real flops in our past. And I think that really stood out to me with regards to that, because the build-up before the game, people were going, oh, they've not been beaten in 6 months or whatever. And I thought we were playing like Real Madrid, and they were absolutely awful. They were garbage, and that's being really, really polite about it. It was like, say, Championship, League One, Scottish Premiership, that sort of quality. It was just terrible. So you can do what you do, and they did really, really well. I thought Asula was very good when he came on. I thought that goal that he gave was like, the build-up play was brilliant. The fans seemed to really enjoy themselves as well at the Anderlecht Stadium. Is it Lotto Stadium or something like that? It's yeah, which is a great name. But all in all, brilliant. And as I say, you can only do what you do. And I thought they were superb. And it sent out a little message across Europe, of course, after PSV having been tonked 3-0 at home by Union, but they were terrible, And so yeah, I was really, really delighted, and more importantly, it's given confidence to the players. I think that's the other big boost, is building up that confidence, which then rolled on to the Forest game, and interestingly, the fact that he picked the same team, and it was an interesting game, I thought. Big Ange, as he's like to be known as, was interesting, the fact that he played a low block. So he didn't go for his traditional high press up the pitch, basically hanging on the halfway line, and then you hoof it over the top and chase them down. There was none of that. The first half was stilted, and that was deliberate by their team, I thought. Some tough challenges by both sets of players went in. I mean, first half, I thought Elliot Anderson was excellent. I thought he was terrific for them. I was keeping an eye on him, and he was brilliant. But then Bruno really got the grips with him, I thought, and started to dominate. Tonali again. He just run out of superlatives in terms of how amazing he is as a footballer. He was just everywhere. I thought the defense was great. I mean, Malik Chow is certainly shut me up in terms of me expecting a few errors and having read all about it and not being impressed with the first game and another one. And he's been superb, been absolutely superb. He seems to have everything in terms of pace, reading the game well. Bruno talked about the fact that he breaks the lines today or yesterday, and I thought that was very insightful. I thought that was quite good to read. And he seems to build up a real partnership with Botman. I have to say, I feel really sad for Dan Burn, who, in my opinion, is very unlucky not to be the left centre half, because he's done nothing wrong and has been nothing short of magnificent there. But he is not a left back, and he's been caught out time and time again in both games as left back. But I'm not blaming him, because it's not his position. He's just filling in and doing the best job he can. It was noticeable that Newcastle were linked today on a free transfer for Lodi, who used to play for Nottingham Forest, and I thought that was interesting, because obviously he's a left back and he's Brazilian, of course, and he played with Kieran Trippier at Atletico Madrid. So I thought Renan Lodi. So I thought, okay, that could be very interesting, and that really could do a short-term job, and maybe come in as the other player to fill in for Lewis Hall when he's not fit, because he seems to be very unlucky at the moment, because he was magnificent last year. It also sadly tells me that Alex Murphy looks like he's not going to make it. Otherwise, why wouldn't he be playing? I don't understand it. He's of an age now where he should be playing. But again, first half mixed. Second half, I thought we were excellent. I think Eddie Howe I don't know what he said at halftime, but it certainly did the trick. Bruno was my man of the match. I thought he grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. I thought their keeper pulled off some incredible saves. And ironically, I think he should have saved the Bruno goal, because if that was Nick Pope and it went, I would have been disappointed if that had went in next to our keeper. but he pulled off some amazing saves. The one against Joe Linton was absolutely outstanding. I thought Voltemade really came into his own in the second half and looked fantastic. I mean, when you looked at the match of the day, I didn't realise he never gave the ball away. And I thought that was a fascinating stat for an attacking forward, sort of attacking midfield, centre forward, somewhere in the middle there. I thought he was really, really excellent. I thought Elanga's a worry. I thought he was poor, I have to say. When I watch him, and I watched him because he was obviously near us at one point, is that he seems to be on his heels and he doesn't read the game. He seems to be, instead of being on his toes and ready to make a burst, and he did do a couple, and they didn't give him the ball. So I'm to be fair to him on that front. But I thought there was a number of occasions, not a couple, where he's just waiting for the ball to come to him, and instead of going to the ball, or as I say, making a quick burst, because he's got all that pace in the world, and he's not utilising it properly. And I was disappointed, and I've been disappointed quite a bit by him. However, I was disappointed with Anthony Gordon for 6 months when he first came, and he flipped it round after when he started playing properly in the second season. So I can't see why he can't turn it round and just take a little bit of time for everything to sort of settle in. So I'm certainly not writing him off by any means. But what I will say is, at the minute for me, he's not an upgrade on Jacob Murphy. He's a different type of player. But Murphy came on for 15 minutes, and I thought he was outstanding. He whipped in 2 or 3 great balls. I mean, one of the passes we should have scored. One of the crosses was unreal. I thought he was absolutely superb. I thought Murphy was terrific, absolutely terrific. Barnes was pretty good when he came on as well, which was nice to see. So a little upturn in form. But I was just disappointed in him. So I would like to see more, and I'm sure the lad's got a lot more in him. But just a bit of time. And if we go back to the transfers for a second, with regards to this, because it sort of fits in with the whole thing anyway about the winger situation. And I said before the end of last season, the player I would have went for was Semenyo, when everyone was going on about Brian Mbeumo. And I stick by that. And I would break the bank in January to go and get him. I would, because one, he puts a dent in Bournemouth, who are doing very, very well. But also, Manchester United had agreed a deal apparently with him last year, and then they didn't have the funds to go with it. And I think he'd be perfect for us, either on the left or he could play on the right. I think he's a sensational player. He's the man I would want to see at the club. Probably means you'd have to sell Barnes, but I could live with that. But anyway, getting back to the football, I thought good performance, good professional performance in terms of the breaking it down. I thought the penalty was unreal. For a second, I thought he whipped it over the bar and it was going into the Gallagher. Because me and Steve, who I stand next to at the match, just looked at each other for a second, and it was brilliant. And then you realised that the ball was nestling in the back of the net. It took kahunas, I think is the phrase, to hit that penalty. It was absolutely immense. So well done to him. Well done to him. He's had a great start to his Newcastle United career. He's a different type of footballer. He's got something about him that I really, really like. And he's got this weird gait. He's very Chris Waddle. He looks like it all of the time, doesn't he? But he's really got something about him. Berbatov had that as well. And that's probably the closest footballer he's like. He's very much like Berbatov, who I was a huge fan of as well as a footballer. So, well done to the boys. It was a massive win. It was a must win, in my opinion. And now the impetus is with us, and we'll hopefully kick on. And I listened to a podcast the other day, and they were saying that we won't get beat till at least December. I concur. I absolutely go along with that totally. I think we'll go on a run.
Certainly was a big week for Newcastle, and I think I've just done my editorial for the fanzine, which will be out later this month. And I think I put at the moment we're 7 points off the top of the Premier League, 3 points off the top of the Champions League, and we're into the next round of the Carabao Cup with a home draw.
Yeah,
not bad, really.
Where did it all go wrong?
Lots of people putting out, concerns. I've had messages today. Everything okay with Wissa? Lots of people asking about Wissa and saying, is he injured? ignore what you see on Twitter. Honestly, until the club comes out with it, I say this until I'm blue in the face sometimes on this panel. But please just ignore it. If somebody puts something out on Twitter, it's not fact. If the club put it out on Twitter, it's fact. People saying that, Wissett's got an ACL, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Yeah, I would just ignore it. Okay, John asked you.
How many goals? I'm going to have a guess at 78 for the season. There we go.
For Newcastle or for in total?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I think he was asking you about Voldemort, though. How many goals do you think he will score for the entire season? That's why I questioned 78.
Okay, well, what do I reckon? I'm going to go 21.
21. Okay, well, that's still not the highest. I think somebody said 24 last night on the show.
Right.
So, interesting. Happy anniversary, everyone, says John. Did think we might still need an upgrade on the right side of our attack. I wonder if Jacob Ramsey would give it a go. What about the right side you've talked about, Elanga? I think the left's probably the area where we'll have to improve. But I still think in January we're desperate for another centre forward. I know Sula's improved.
Yeah, I agree. I think Asula's been excellent, actually, to be fair to him. I think it's really starting to click now. If we do sell him, and there was talk of it today, if they do sell him, it looks like there's going to be a buyback clause in it. So at least Newcastle are starting to learn, and that's fine by me. That's absolutely fine by me. He's got every attribute. He's got pace and everything, he's strong. He's really starting to look good. But if they do go and get another centre forward, then that's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. As I said before, Semenyo will be my first choice on left and right. He can play both absolutely all day long. I still think we need a midfielder. And because of the new rules that are coming out and they're going to get approved next month, isn't it, in November? And it looks fairly detrimental to Newcastle, of course. It looks like we might have to, and again, I might be reading this wrong, so people please correct me because I don't profess to be a fountain of knowledge here. But it looks like we might have to spend a fair bit more money that we've got at the minute. Otherwise, we might not be able to spend it because of the new rules. But if we do, go out and buy Elliot Anderson back. If you want a midfielder, he's your man. He's the other one who can alternate in the middle and take over Joe Linton's place eventually. He's the man for me, and I would certainly go for Semenyo. Well, in the centre forward, as you say. I tell you what, 3 or 4 good buys, and we are very, very close to going for the title. I have no problem with that whatsoever, in saying that whatsoever. I just think the poor start of the season might have dented us quite a bit. I know Alan Pardew might think otherwise. It was very nice to hear from him. He never speaks ill of the club, so fair dues.
Back on again today. Everything he talked about as well. When I was at Newcastle, I met Alan a couple of times. I never ever shouted for his head. I still think he was the right manager under Mike Ashley.
Well, I did, so I'm not going to pretend otherwise and come out and say that I didn't, because I did. So
that's fair enough. Steve and Sid, does the club have to make big moves this season to increase revenue, get those big players tied down to better contracts to stave off interest? Sid.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonali has to be the priority. He is the number one man for me at the club. He's the best. He's the one world-class player we've got. Now that Isaac's gone, sorry to say his name. I would definitely go out and spend big money on him, And as I say, we might only get to keep him for 2 or 3 years, 2 years, whatever. And he goes off to Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or wherever it might be. But fair dues, sewn up, fair. Fine, as long as it's not Liverpool or some other English club, and I'm more than happy with that. And I'll revel in the fact that we've seen, in my opinion, the best midfielder I've seen in my lifetime at the club. So he's the priority. Then Botman, you need to get Botman tied down. Other players obviously are just straightforward rolling contracts, the likes of Dan Burn and all these, and Fabian Schär, I believe they'll probably just give a rolling contract to, and I have no problem with that as well. Is the additional centre half will come in when Chow's not playing. What a great replacement! What a great replacement! So yeah, I think there has to be contract renewals. Absolutely, that has to be priority because there's a number of them out of contract this year, and a few of them won't get renewed. I would imagine. I don't imagine Jamal Lascelles getting his contract renewed. We'll just get a big stand ovation off all the fans and quite. I would probably give Trippier another year. I would.
Some people in the chat are the same as you and me, because I would give Trippier another year, but I know Trolls, when Trolls is in the chat, definitely wouldn't. But he can still do a job. He
can still do a job. What he does off the field is just as important. in terms of being at the club anyway. But I think he's been magnificent, and the way he brings the players together is superb. So absolutely give him another deal. Yes, other players might get ahead of him, but
Yeah.
who better to learn from in the defence than him? He's reading the games brilliant, man. Yeah, he's lost a bit of pace, but he didn't have that much to start with. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Nick Baltimore, no Isaac has ever felt so good, so good, so good. Thank you, Gareth. My voice is a bit croaky today, so I'm not going to attempt to sing. I know that will disappoint me fans out there with me singing fans. The difference between Burn.
Can I just mention?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry for a second there. I did a gig on Saturday night at the library.
Yeah, how did it go?
Went very well, but thank you to the guy who came up to me during the interval, and he was with his wife or his partner, and he came up and he goes, "Oh, are you off on UFC Matters?" And I said, "I do that." And he goes, "Oh, well, I had a bit of chat with him. What a lovely guy." So hello to him if he's watching there. So
good stuff. The difference between Burn centre-back and Botman, Chow centre-back, is the progressive passing was so much better in the transitions for me with Bots and Chow, says Paul.
Yeah, I can't disagree. And Chow's got the pace, and you've heard me talking now for however long I've done this show. And my biggest gripe is the lack of pace in the defence, because Botman's not quick, but what Chow is, and that's absolutely fine. It's that really works then. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, super.
Yeah. Okay, we are halfway through the show. We will have a quick ad break, and then we'll be focusing a little bit on music. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. And don't forget, we have an evening with Warren Barton, and it's our Christmas do on the 21st of November. Tickets are £12 and from nufcmatters.co.uk. And a couple for next year. Supermat and Gibbo are back together on the 23rd of January. And Peter Beardsley and Joe Allen back together on the 30th of January. So a couple of do's after Christmas at the Irish Centre, and get your tickets now from nufcmatters.co.uk. And just another plug for the book where we are giving all proceeds to Age UK North Tyneside Dementia, the promoter and the photographer, and it's 25 years of bringing the stars to Tyneside. a couple of stories from me, a couple of stories from Singe the photographer, and some great photographs, some unseen photographs of the legends on Tyneside. Nice little book, just in time for Christmas. Priced at £10. You can get that from the website. The irrepressible Rob, unfortunately, won't be with us today. He has done his blog live. He has asked me to explain that he will not be reviewing the sex symbol of the South, Elmer Fudd Senior, live in concert today. But what is he reviewing? Well, we'll find out after this.
Hi everyone. Unfortunately, it's another pre-record from me, but I am immensely proud. I'm doing 2 6 months volunteering courses, so I'm training for that. So next week I'll be back with the boys. So yeah, this is Marcus. Brilliant choice, absolutely amazing choice. So it's 1982. It's Simple Minds, New Dream, 81, 82, 83 and 84. To me, this is the album. I love Simple Minds from this album backwards. There's a couple I like, newer ones at Neapolis. Good News from Next World's a good album. So it's synth pop, new wave. But, but the lead up to it, my first two albums, well, my two favourite albums were Sons and Fascination. It still has the, I don't know if you can see it, the leaflet, the order form, £3.50 for a t-shirt. And Sister Feeling's Call came with it as well. Back then, I mean, a free album because they couldn't afford to do a double album, so they used to do a free album with an album. That's the way around it. And again, looking through early stuff, this one, Life in a Day, on Zoom label, which is in Edinburgh. This classic, I Travel, and Sid. I still have the flexi disc with it. Kaleidoscope flexi disc. So it was brilliant. So yeah, Marcus, thank you very much for recommending this. Like I say, it's my original copy, New Gold Dream, has been re-released and box set as well. So yeah, I had an issue with drummers. So yeah, it was Brian McGee, Kenny Hislop and Mel Gaynor, and I'm not sure who's drumming for them now. It's very moody, this album. It's recorded in Townhouse Studios in London, but absolute classic album. Does remind me of sitting in my bed, listening to records and that sort of thing. And I've actually just noticed my hair is something about Mary. Got to laugh at yourself. So yeah, it opens with Someone Somewhere in Summertime. This was a third single off the album. Very melodic track, to me, staples the future for Simple Minds at this point. Very catchy melody, majestic vocals. I think the vocals on this are brilliant. There's nothing pushed, there's nothing urgent. It's just very subtle. Great album. What number 2? Colours Fly and Catherine Wheel. Again, this reminds me a bit earlier Simple Minds, like the couple of albums I've just shown you. Obviously, Not Forgetting the Past. 4 albums. It's like really, really good processed guitars on this. I don't know if you'll agree, Sid, but on this album I can hear bits of Roxy and a bit Ultravox. I do. You got track 3 is called Promised You a Miracle. I have to say, Derek Forbes at bass. I'd love to have him back. He was at the absolute powerhouse. Derek Forbes and Mel Gaynor, absolute powerhouse. He played his guitar, his bass, sorry. Amazing. His Fender Precision Light. This one, Promise You a Miracle, is about, Simple Minds were in debt at this time and they needed a big hit single, and this was it really, I suppose, at the time, and they needed this hit to clear a debt, and it was like, Promise You a Miracle. That's what it's about. A lot of bands at this point, the same in Marillion, when they done the Fugazi album, up to their eyes in debt, drained. The follow-up album, Clutching at Straws, you can work out what that's about. That album, what it's based on. But yeah, that's Promise You a Miracle, really good bass players, amazing. Derek Forbes, I think he went with Big Country for a while, and Propaganda, I remember, and there was Dead Men Walking as well. That was Mike Peters from Alarm, and can't remember who else was in that band. Maybe Bruce Watson from Big Country as well, I'm not too sure. Then you got Big Sleep. To me, this is all elements of classic Simple Minds. Again, big synth riffs. I mean, you don't hear that often. Synth riffs. Perfect vocal style. Again, I think the vocals in this are outstanding. Very atmospheric track, very moody. Again, brilliant song. So far, every song's a killer, really is. You got Nugal Dream. This got covered by a lot of dance bands in the 90s, and it was opening for this album, Utah Saints, and this whole album was just covers. You know, and you've got like What Can You Do For Me, Believe In Me, Something Good, you know, Kate Bush. Yeah, that opens with that. It's a brilliant song. Just the opening, and if you can watch Simple Minds doing this on the tube, on YouTube, in Newcastle, it's Mick McNeil's keyboard playing is absolutely outstanding, and I know they're doing a thing just now with Derek Forbes and Mick McNeil. They're doing stuff on the squeeze box, keyboards and bass, just jamming. It's really interesting. Again, if you want to find that, that's what they're doing just now. It's a shame they can't all get back together, you know, but it's maybe just a fantasy thing. You've got Glitter and Prize, bass again, unbelievable. To me, this brings a bit of a new sound to Simple Minds. It's really clever. The vocals are really clever on this one as well. Again, the bass drives this. The chorus just reminds me of old and the modern Simple Minds. Again, I just love how they're bringing in I'd say the last 2 albums into this, but with the new sound, especially like the keyboard riffs, the bass, it's got a warm sound. I think the first couple of albums, like Life in a Day, Celebrate, Real Cacophony, those are quite cold albums, but you know, new wave, post-punk, that's what happened. Hunter and the Hunted, I like the song. People say it's the weakest song on the album, but I don't believe it is. It's a B-side on the 12-inch version of Waterfront, and it was filmed at Newcastle City Hall in '82. Great song, I really, really like it, I do. There's a really nice keyboard solo in that as well from Mick McNeil, it's great. And ending with King is White and In the Crowd, slow-paced song. I think, you know, Hunter and Hunted, this song, to me, the album runs down, gets a bit slow, but to me, the album's already peaked way before the last 2 songs, and it's outstanding. So the last 2 songs, yeah, King's White's In the Crowd, it's a good song, but it's a typical end of an album song, and like Hunter and Hunted as well. A bit tired, but it's okay. Definitely getting a 9.5 out of 10. And before I go, another prop, one of my last 2, was Simple Minds box set, and here it's got on the back Late Night in Concert. Who remembers that? Sight and Sound, things like that. You know, so this was broadcast Newcastle City Hall, 1982, and it's from this tour. It's got Hunter and Hunted, Glitter and Prize, Someone Somewhere in Summertime, American, Big Sleep, and You Go Dream. And before I go, this was also, I don't know, Marcus, if you were aware of this, it was re-released live at Paisley Abbey, You Go Dream, on red vinyl. I've never listened to it, but it's simply the full album. That's all it is, and which I absolutely love. There's no extras or remixed or revisited versions of it. Beautiful cover, really nice. You've got your high gloss here. It's just stunning. So yeah, that's me. But I will be back next week with the boys, and yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope you like the album I'm not reviewing next week. Is going to be an absolute cracker. I'm possibly thinking about doing Utah Saints. If anyone else has got suggestions, I think there was a couple on my list. I'll go back. I think it was American singer-songwriter. I'll go back and check. If you're watching, remind me again of any requests you have, and I will do it for you next week. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks to Rob. Great stuff. A great review. And
Great album. Great album, yeah.
Rob is my hero, says Marcus. So there you go. Thank you. Get your reviews in. Rob does check back in the comments anyway. But Sid, what are you bringing us this week?
Yeah, I mean, that is a proper groundbreaking album, in my opinion. And I've gone with another groundbreaking album, one of the albums that really changed my life from, to coin a phrase, the only band that mattered, as they were known as, and it's The Clash, and it's the debut album. It's just magnificent. I'm going to read some of my notes here. It's just brill. Formed after Strummer saw the Pistols when he was playing with the 101ers. It was like a pub rock band. Changed his name from Woody to Joe Strummer. I mean, Strummer was the sort of very middle class one of the band. All the rest were proper working class lads. Strummer was the son of a diplomat. And yeah, I mean, it's just so he obviously formed a punk band with Mick Jones, Paul Simonon, and Terry Chimes at the time was the original drummer on this album. And he went under the moniker of Tory Crimes, which I thought was great. So that tells you politically where they are, clearly on the left. And the Clash were political. That's the whole point of the Clash. Just brilliant. Although, of course, Mark Perry, who did the Sniff and Glue magazine with Danny Baker, and I used to have the first one from my good old friend John Esplin, bless his soul, and Mark Perry always claimed that the day they signed for CBS in April 77 was the day punk rock died, which I thought was a bit harsh. But it was produced by Mickey Foote, the old 101ers sound guy. I mean, the sound is rough and ready, but that was the whole point. Whereas the Pistols later on that year had Chris Thomas do an incredible job on Never Mind the Bollocks. This is much more street sounding. So the Pistols were much more Rolling Stones, super glam production, Roxy Music glam sound, whereas the Clash were just much more punk sounding, if you know, a weird sort of way, much more on the streets. Iconic art cover taken at Camden. Rehearsal rooms. Terry, you can still go there, of course, and get your photo taken there. Terry Chimes isn't on it because he told them at the time that he was leaving the band. And of course, Topper would come along and join the band. Topper Heeden. I always thought it was Hedden, but it's Heeden, apparently. The whole album is just one big highlight. It's just brilliant. Ginny Jones kicks off the album with one of the greatest opening tracks of all time, in my opinion. What a drum beat, brilliant bass. About a brothel keeper, which as you do, but it's brilliant. And they recorded a song with her under the name of, I think they were called The Lash. But that's another story. We've then got Remote Control, which is for me the weakest song on the album, which was bizarrely released as a single, which Complete Control's all about. We've then got I'm So Bored with the USA, which is absolutely brilliant and groundbreaking when you think about the theme at the time. White Riot's next, and it's very much garage sounding compared to the single. I personally prefer the single version, but that's by the by. What's My Name? Just brilliant. Followed by Deny. The chorus, Deny, You're Such a Liar. It's brilliant. It's about a heroin user. And again, he's protestations that he's not on it, which clearly was the person they're writing about. London's Burning, based on the old nursery rhyme, and about boredom of young people's lives in London. Career Opportunities is next, another absolute killer. The song attacks the political and economic situation in England, citing the lack of jobs available for young people, which would only unfortunately get worse in the early 80s. We've then got Cheat, which was a great song about the unfairness of life, possibly about class restraints as well. Protex Blue, which is about using condoms. It's a great song, though. The lyrics are brilliant. They then do a cover version of Police and Thieves, the great Junior Mervyn song, which I love. And this is going to sound like heresy here, but I'm not a massive fan of the Clash's version of it. We've then got 48 Hours. It's all about having a good weekend over 48 hours. We've then finally got Garage Land, where Charles Shaw Murray, the famous journalist, had a bit of a sort of go at them and say they were just declared them as a garage band, and their riposte was to write this song, of course, which it's one of the great album closers as well. It's perfection. It really is. It's like 37 minutes or whatever it is, or it's just absolute killer. I know the Americans didn't have it, and about 2 years later, the Americans got a version of the first album with different singles from slightly different later periods on, and that's a great one to have as well, to be fair. But this is the one. You got all the proper the British tracks on, like Deny and stuff, which weren't on there. It's just absolutely game changing. It's got a sound. It still sounds brilliant. Still sounds super raw. And it still means as much now as it did the first time I ever heard it. So, yeah, The Clash, they're one of my top 10 favourite artists quite comfortably. So, yeah.
I don't think I've listened to that, so I might add that to my album of the day challenge.
Yeah. I mean, London Calling, I think, is the greatest album that they released, but this is absolutely brilliant and totally different. Because my first ever album that I ever bought was London Calling, and I was on a school trip. And it was just got it in 1980, and I bought it for £5 in London because they used to have the price stickers. Don't pay more than £5, I think it was. And I cherished it all the way home. And I played it. I didn't like it very much because it wasn't punk. But then, of course, years later, it changed my mind and realised it's a work of genius. This is the album that initially got me into The Clash because it's just like it's a punk album. It's brilliant. But yeah. Belter. And yeah, it features on my greatest debut album, Shows All Time. You can see a few of the others that I've chosen on there, or others have chosen. So Stiff Little Fingers' first album. And of course, SLF were massively, as were the Specials, hugely influenced by The Clash. Both bands were musically, politically, and everything else that goes with it. So some great albums on there, Roxy and Iron Maiden, The Doors, The Smiths. So yeah, check out that show. Cheers, Steve. Thank you.
And what's you also had? Was it a film? You were going to review this last week, but we
very quickly. This gets a lot of grief as a film. I love it. Maybe I'm just a bit soft as I'm getting.
I enjoyed this as well, to be honest, mate.
So I really like it. It gets so much grief. So it's written by Richard Curtis and directed by Danny Boyle, Himesh Patel, and the beautiful Lily James is in it. He plays a struggling musician who's he's not able to make it. All of a sudden, he gets run over by a bus or something, doesn't he? And smacks his head off the ground. He wakes up, the lights all change, and all of a sudden, it turns out nobody's ever heard of the Beatles. So he pretends that he's written all these songs and they're Beatles songs. And all of a sudden, he turns into an overnight sensation. I'll not give away the rest of the story because that would be unfair. But it's quite clever. This is the Harry Potter thing at the end is a nice little twist as well. But it's very, very good. It's just a nice, enjoyable rom-com. Let's not pretend otherwise. Even Ed Sheeran's in it, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he was all right. He was clearly good sport. But it's good. It's just a nice, easy film. So yeah, don't take it any further than that.
No, definitely not. Only got about 2 or 3 minutes left, mate, because I know you've got to get up and get back to work. But yeah, international break again. And I give the stats there a little bit early. 7 points off the top of the Premier League, 3 points off the top of the Champions League, and into the next round of the Carabao Cup with a tie against Spurs at home. So, if you were writing a school report, Sid, and I know you've done a few of them, what is your message in the comments section for Newcastle United at this stage in the season in October?
Working well. Can't fault the effort. Hoping for more progress as the year progresses, for greater progress. I think that's roughly what I'm expecting. I'm not going to sit here and slate them. I think they're trying hard. They're trying to do a new system. They've lost a massive player. As much as people might say, "Oh, we've upgraded and this, that, and the other." Don't get me wrong. He's will score lots of goals this year. I think what people are deluded saying that he won't. But we've got a different type of player, and we're taking time to adapt. And I think it's probably not being helped by lack of form by the wings. I think would be my sort of one area. The big plus is the defence. Looks like we've got just about the best defence in the league, probably us and Arsenal. And that's a huge plus. That's a huge plus because 2 years ago, remember, we had the best defence in the league with Man City when they won the title. And you don't win anything without a good defence. So, as Brian Clough used to say, and he's right, obviously. So, yeah, it's just taking a little bit of time. We are slow starters. I'd like to see that stop eventually one day, but with hopefully we'll get a bit of momentum now. And the fixture list, we had the hardest run. We had the hardest run of fixtures to start with. Brighton away, when it comes to it, it's not an easy one, but after that it starts to get a little bit easier. So yeah, I'm not expecting us to get beat anytime soon for quite some time now, and just get on a run. And once the confidence gets there, then brilliant, So well done. And it's worked out really well. And Voltemade, ironically, it could be a blessing in disguise that the fact that we've not had a centre forward, because he's had to dive straight in and he's really starting to adapt now. So.
Yeah, and credit to Nick Pope as well. Those clean sheets aren't just down to the back four, but he has done well.
His shot stopping is brilliant. He's gone right back to. I agree with you, Tim. He's gone right back to that first season when I thought he was brilliant as a shot stopper. He's never going to improve his kicking. We all know that. He's not going to suddenly to turn into Edison, is he? But it is improved. His all-round game is good. And I actually think the other keeper, is going to probably struggle to get in.
Yeah, Ramsdale will, and he's on loan. Yeah. There's no. If he was a contracted player at Newcastle for the next 2 or 3 years, I think if he got in, there would be a chance he'd keep his place. Yeah. But I think Ramsdale knows it's going to be difficult to usurp Pope.
I agree, because I think in the summer next year they'll go out and buy they'll go and buy a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, great stuff as always. Thanks to Rob for his musical interlude as well. Very good.
Well done.
And if you want to find more music, jump on to Songs from the Attic, which is Sid's channel. There's some great stuff on there. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. We will be back next week when we'll be looking ahead to another busy round of fixtures after the international break. Look forward to seeing you then, Sid. Take care.
You too. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.